Thank you. So we'll just go through a quick panel to discuss both what are your strategies and your challenges as before Ibex. So from a perspective of OUBC, let's start with you, what was the challenges for you in terms of the portfolios that you had invested to the Osaka University? What were the challenges in terms of global expansion, and how did you try to solve that before Ibex stepped in?
So, thank you for having me today. I'm Yuki Naga from Osaka University Venture Capital. We are venture capital arm of the University of Osaka, and we started our strategic collaboration with Ibex this year, and yeah, it's my honor to be here for this panel. So the challenge to support the startup company from Kansai and from university, I think one of the biggest challenge is global mindset. So we are doing the company creation activity as well as investing in existing company. But for many cases, the entrepreneurs or researchers from the university or venture capitalists from our team have a very domestic mindset to see the market in Japan only, or for the Japan optimized team structure, and even for the collaboration with the customer only in Japan. So from the day one, I think globally and see the opportunity for global market is very important. But we are now still on the beginning stage of this challenge for supporting researchers and entrepreneurs. So I think in this context, the collaboration with Antra is very helpful for us.
Thank you. Masuo-san, a question for you. When you built Xfusion, did you ever think of building this as a global company from day one, or was that something that you thought about later? How was your approach when you started, when you spun out of Osaka University?
Yeah, because our technology is based on the Osaka University, so it's we are born in Osaka, and because our technology is in Osaka University. But finally, we want to go into the international, like US or Europe. So we try to expand it. And he already mentioned that the global mindset, but my opinion is some of the researchers have the global mindset already, because my case, so actually I graduated at Osaka University, and after that I was a postdoc at the University of California, San Diego. I mean, some of the researchers going to the US university and has some of the global mindset, because in the US there are many big startups, or startups is natural. So then after that I went back to the Japan and building this company. So yeah, I think it's supporting some of the research to become the entrepreneur is one of the solutions of the entrepreneur with a global mindset.
So coming back to you, Taka-san, in terms of Masuo-san, you got lucky because he's a researcher but also a very business savvy person, and of course can understand global markets as well. But that's not the case normally, right? So he's an exception. The rule is that 99% of the researchers cannot really scale their idea beyond patents and IP. How is Osaka University and you, venture capital of Osaka University, trying to deal with that, and how are you trying to change that?
I think there are two things we can support. First one is global exposure. Masuo-san mentioned that he was in a global environment. It can help him to, cultivate a global mindset. And we are supporting world-class researchers from Kansai, and we also have a global network, like networking with Antras and venture capitals from Silicon Valley. So sometimes we hold an event, and we can have opportunity to send researchers to acceleration program outside of Japan. So through this kind of experience, we believe that we can help researchers or entrepreneurs to think more globally even before incorporation, the new company. And another one is to support the team building. So many researchers or entrepreneurs try to make a best team before incorporation, and we are supporting this kind of activity with talent pool. So through the collaboration with Antra, we are expanding our talent pool globally. So we, through the discussion with entrepreneurs to introduce the best talent to this kind of team would be helpful for them to expand.
Thank you. So coming back to you, Masusan, we have now worked with you for about 4 to 5 months, and Tomoko has been on the forefront from a perspective of talent acquisition for Exfusion. What have you learned from our experience in the last 5 months? Good and bad, both is okay to talk about. So we'd love to hear your experience with Ibex.
Yeah, it's like the first I will talk about things like salary is higher than Japan. Obviously, but because it's like I mean it's like how to say it, actually for me it is very important to meet the kind of the outside of Japan people, because like inside of Japan it's very convenient and also like very how to say easy to doing something, but outside of Japan, of course, it's very harder. So, and when I meet outside of Japanese people, it's like they stimulate me to like because like they already in the UK or US or the outside Japan, and so around that, so they see the more startups compared to Japan. So in this case, like they understanding the how to say so their speed is very important to develop or like business business also. So yeah, it's like at least like it is very important to see the difference between the inside of Japan and outside of Japan.
So that's actually a good lead to you, Taga-san, is that, of course, outside talent is expensive, obviously, because, they have much interesting, a lot more interesting domain expertise. And from a venture capital perspective, in order for you to scale a company like Exfusion, obviously you have to invest in a talent that is not going to be so cheap, right, from a Japan perspective. That's number one. And number two, you have to bring in outside investors. So how does that play with VCs in Japan to bring in an outside investor that potentially can sit on the board and drive the vision of the company, and to a certain extent, you have to take a back seat? How does that work, and how are you approaching that?
So we established a Silicon Valley office 2 years ago, and we are still learning how to encourage or how to collaborate with venture capitals in the US or outside Japan. And yeah, Antra is one of them we are learning from. So one thing we feel is that importantly, the Kansai has a world-class academic, world-class universities and research institutions. And I think one of our roles is that to help researchers to show the importance of this kind of technology through the business. So once we make a matching with entrepreneur with global mindset with world-class researchers through this ecosystem, and then show to the global venture capitals. And another one is, other venture capitals to go to the, for example, US market or outside Japan to show our activities and to let them know, let the investors to know what level our researches in Japan.
To kind of change the subject a little bit, a topic. So now we are basically looking at you expanding globally out of Kansai, potentially New Mexico, maybe Scotland. From your perspective, what has been a challenge for you inside of your co-founders and inside your team to kind of convince them to look at from your perspective? Because you might be a global person as a CEO, but maybe your team is not so global. So what actions or what steps are you taking to solve that?
Yeah, I think it's like one thing is like how to, for example, for our company, the R&D is very, very important things. And handling the R&D, of course, like in Japan, is very convenient and easy to, but handling the outside of Japan, it is a little bit difficult because like outside is remotely to handling because our technology is like a hardware. So to making the laser fusion reactor means like making the actual laser system, target injection system, laser controlling system. All things is like hardware, but understanding like how to do the R&D in outside Japan remotely. So but I mean like we still try to expanding our R&D in the United States. For example, recently we got the grant from the DOE in the US, which is collaboration between the Idaho National Lab and the X-Fusion. Idaho National Lab is a US National Institute. So doing the some of the reactors. So we did. So because it is little bit easier to handling the remotely. So of course, like everything is a little bit difficult to bring the US, but some part we can do. So then we find out such a things and try to expanding the global R&D.
Thank you. So this question applies to both of you. From a venture capital perspective and from a founder startup perspective, what can Ibex do to make the Kansai ecosystem better, scalable, as well as lucrative, not only from the economic development, but also from taking technologies from lab to market? So you can go first, maybe then Osaka.
There are many things we hope it to help us. So one is to bring the global capital. So as I mentioned, we are trying to connect with global venture capitals and investors outside Japan to help to realize the social implementation from the university research. And I think Antara has already have a global network with investors. So I think you have a global perspective. So from this perspective, I want you to evaluate our ecosystem and to match with similar mindset from the global capitals. And also talent acquisition is very important. We also expect you to support to encourage us to expand from this ecosystem. Now, yeah, I mentioned that we are now expanding our own talent pool, but we wanted to make a collaboration with your talent pool to exchange the talent with researchers from universities to make a business plan from this ecosystem.
Same question for you.
Yeah. So I think like Ibex is very important for the Kansai innovation and also Kansai DeepTech company because my case is a little bit rare because I was in the US and seeing the US startups or US researcher or whatever. But normally, normal people they don't meet the outside Japanese people. So whatever the international VC or international researcher, so maybe it is important to meet them and learn about what they thinking and it is also stimulating us. So yeah, I think it is very important to whatever the issue or people so you bring that here is very important.
Thank you. So one final questions and for both of you to what do you think Ibex challenge is going to be from a ecosystem investor perspective, from a founder perspective?
I guess that there could be a barrier in language and the culture. So between Ibex and ecosystem surrounding the universities venture capitals. So yeah, as I said, some of the very early stage startup from university have a very domestic mindset, and firstly go Japan and then global, this kind of mindset. And of course, it is important to make a business foundation from Kansai and in Japan, and then go to the next step. But one of the very important mindset from Android is go globally with very high speed. So your program has maybe only 1 or 2 years, and then make a third company and go global. So I think this kind of speed is not for everyone from deep tech field. So I think we are now between this Japanese ecosystem and global ecosystem, and how to orchestrate this.
That's a fantastic answer, Masuo-san.
Yeah, I think almost the same answer, but kind of the mindset is a little bit the barrier to enter the Japanese market and the Japanese culture, Japanese ecosystem. So because for Ibex it's 4 months is very long, but in Japan 4 months is very short. It's so we meet 4 months ago and know each other.
So we pushed you very hard.
Yeah. So I mean but sometimes it's so, and changing the mindset is taking is a little bit longer compared to the just things. So it's but still I feel changing the mindset is also important for me. So keep doing this is good things for me.
That's great. So let's end on that note that there are some good things that Ibex is doing. Speed. Unfortunately, we won't go slow. We will actually keep up the speed because that's the speed of startups, right? And of course, deep tech takes a long time, and we understand that. But at the same time, we also feel that the timing and speed is very important for any startup to succeed. So with that note, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much.